No, it's already connected. Saurav's laptop is here already. Okay. So, good afternoon. My name is Balan Madhavan. I am the Director of Photography for the Lenscape Kerala project. We have three photographers who participated in this exhibition here today. Saurabh Chatterjee will be the first to talk about his work. And the idea is basically we can't do a master class in 2 hours, okay? So it's not going to be a master class. So what we thought that we'll ask the photographers to share their experiences. How what is their philosophy behind the pictures and the way they compose the picture, the way you see the frame, all these things. Each photographer will present, and Saurav need to leave early, so he'll have a 30 minutes presentation followed by a quick question answer session. After that, we have Satish and Natasha. Satish will be the last. Okay, okay. And I will also present some of my pictures. And let me welcome on behalf of everybody, Saurabh Chatterjee, please. This is your laptop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon, all of you. So, thank you for coming all the way here in Bangalore traffic, though it might be a bit better on a Saturday. So, I'm going to show you some of my pictures. So, first, I'll show you some of my pictures of Kerala, which I had taken about 20 years back. I have been traveling to Kerala since quite some time, and I will also show you some of the pictures that I had taken during the 5 days of exercise that we had done during the travel that we got to travel with Kerala Tourism, and the pictures that didn't make it to the exhibition. Okay, so I'm going to share some of those pictures, and then for some time, maybe another 15 minutes, I will show you some of my work which I've been doing over the last about 20 or 25 years. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding any of the pictures or anything, please feel free to question me. Okay, so let's make this an interactive session, or else I will go to sleep. Okay, so yeah, please, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Okay, so I'll be happy to answer your questions. Please come, please come. So before I went for this assignment, I wanted to see my previous pictures because I didn't want to take the same pictures, or at least get an idea about what Kerala is all about. And because I was a bit aware, quite aware of the places that I was going to. Okay, so and yeah, that gave me a good insight about how Kerala changed over the years. Okay, so I'll first show you the pictures that didn't make it for the exhibition. So we were supposed to give 100 pictures, and out of that, finally, we had to give 20 pictures for this exhibition, and then 10 were eventually displayed in different galleries. So we had the greatest thing about this project that we did was Mr. Balan Madhavan, who is the director of photography for this project, gave us full freedom to do whatever we wanted to do, and that's why you see the variety of work. Okay, so because everybody has their own style of working, so we were able to do whatever we wanted to. Okay, and come back with really different pictures. So I'm going to share some of the pictures that didn't make it for the exhibition, and then I will show you some pictures from Kerala that I had shot before. So I went for this Kathakali performance that happens in Fort Kochi. So this is one of the must have do things when you are in Kerala. So these are some of the pictures from that. And this is a building on Fort Kochi, which I found very interesting. The light was very good, and that's how I was able to shoot this. And so we went in December, and that was a time when the Christmas market was at its full swing, and you see how crowded it was, and these colorful stars that were being sold. So this is one of the pictures I took. And of course, there are a lot of these backwaters with good reflections. They are very typical to Kerala. Now, one thing I would like to tell you, because this was the purpose of this project was to motivate people or to inspire people to travel to Kerala. So that was my objective, and that was what I was thinking before taking any pictures or before submitting the pictures. I do have a few pictures which were I mean some other kind of pictures, but yeah, the ones I submitted were mostly the pictures that would probably motivate people to travel to Kerala. So we went to this very nice shipping yard. Okay, a lot of fishing happening there. So some pictures from there. And there is a washerman place where the washerman wash the clothes in Kochi. So this is one picture from that. It's quite an old place where they still do it the way they used to do before. And when we were there, the Kochi Binale was happening, and these are some of the so all these lot of artists were painting the walls. So some of the artists were from India and some from even from outside India. So these are some of the pictures that I took there. And this there's one more picture displayed there, but before that I took this. But yeah, I chose the one where the sun was just inside those fishing nets. So I had to position myself in a way where I would get the sun right between those uh, the levers. Yeah, so this was one very small worship place in Fort Kochi. We were just walking, and I was able to take this picture and pictures of some temples. And yeah, this is in Fort Kochi. So the light here was very beautiful. How the you see the sun was shining on those statues. That's how I got this. And there's a typical scene in Fort Kochi. Okay, so if you just walk around that place, you will see, in the background you can see the palace, the Matancheri Palace, or the Jewish synagogue. This was one very interesting place. Actually, somebody's residence, and they were doing business on the first on the ground floor. And I took permission if I could go up. I was sensing that maybe I'll find some old architecture there, and these trays looked quite interesting, and that's how I was able to take this picture. So I used a wide angle, a 14 millimeter on a full frame camera, so I was able to achieve this. And so there, they have a lot of ginger coming in, and they segregate ginger based on the pieces of ginger, and uh, and then this lady was segregating. So she was actually doing this in the afternoon sun in the open. So I asked her to stand at this place and do this thing so that I could get a better picture here. And these are some pictures of or fishermen working on their nets. So the red color is quite dominant here, as you can see. And from the light and shadow, you can make out this is taken quite in the afternoon, around 12 o'clock. So a bit challenging to shoot, but yeah, I got some of these pictures here. Yeah, and this was another fishing port there, and yeah. So I went here quite early, and I was waiting for the sunset to happen. This was I wanted a sunset with the field. So that picture didn't come out very well because the clouds came in. But here, as I was waiting for the sun, I saw this farmer. He came in his red bicycle, and then he started working. So I took a couple of shots of that. And there are a lot of these heritage buildings in Kerala, and this is one of the buildings where you can see the paintings are so beautiful, and then the architecture. And then I just waited for a subject. This lady came here, and I got this shot. And so this place was quite interesting, but I wanted something more in the frame. And then I saw this beautiful flowers, and I was able to get this. So this is one place where you must go to this place if you are going towards Trishur. So this is a place called Kala Mandalam. So that is one place where I was scheduled to visit for one full day because there's a lot of activities happening there. It's a center of learning, so a lot of performing arts. You can spend a whole day there, but unfortunately that day there was election, so I was not able to go inside. But from outside, I saw this beautiful light hitting these statues, and I thought, let me at least get one picture here. So this was till for the assignment, but these are my really old pictures of Kerala. This from 10 years to 20 years before. So if you ask me what has changed in Kerala, I think Kerala is still quite green. There are some new buildings that have come up, but life is pretty much the same. So one thing that has changed is these boats were very much used for local transportation, but now because there are roads in all places, they don't use it quite often. But there are some people who feel this is probably the shortest way to travel from one place to other. So that's why they still use these boats. So there are some, yeah. Of course, I see it was a bit more greener before compared to what we see now. So this is in Periyar. Yeah. This is in Calicut, in a beach in Calicut. So they used to dry the coconuts like this. And there are a lot of these beaches which are really, really beautiful, very clean. So you can really enjoy there. And this is one picture I took really long, about 20 years back. And here also I got the sun between. But the difference was that this time I had the luxury of having one boat all for myself, thanks to Kerala Tourism. And here I got this picture. There was this boat, passenger boat, going from this place to the Waipin Island, and I knew that the sun was going to come down any moment, so I just got a ticket, got into the boat, and then I was able to get this shot. So yeah, so this is one thing that is not seen nowadays. You see these buses being taken on these boats. So you see there are three boats put together, and then the rail there, and then you put the uh, the whole bus on top of that, and that's how they used to travel. So this thing is no more there because now these places are accessible by road in most of the places. Yeah, so there's a wider angle view of that thing. And I also didn't find these boats. These were quite traditional boats that were being used. So I didn't see a lot of these boats nowadays. So and yeah, so there is a scope of doing some painting. So these boats really used to look very beautiful. Yeah, and some kids going to school. So yeah, so that was they are some of my pictures from really old Kerala. So now I'm going to quickly show you some of my pictures that kind of define what kind of work I do. So I am basically a travel photographer. I My purpose of photography and purpose of life, you can say, is to showcase the beauty of India, to travel around India to the interiors and showcase the beauty to my friends and family and to everybody connected to me through social media. Okay, so to motivate people to come to India, that's what you can say my purpose of taking pictures. So this starts from my recent trip to Rajasthan, taken a few weeks back, to some really old pictures. So there are some of my collection of my pictures. So I'll take about 15 minutes to do this, and then after that, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer your questions. So this is in Rajasthan, in a place called Pali. So the people wear they still wear these really vibrant colored turbans. So almost everybody does that except for the younger generation. So these things are really dying. So it's very unfortunate that the younger generation don't really do these things anymore. They might be thinking what's the need, but there are a lot of things that I see in India. The culture is slowly dying, and probably they will end with this generation. So these are some of the shepherds in that in a place called uh, Javai. Javai is very known for cheetahs, but they have a lot of these shepherd men as well. So this is not a composite. So if you have seen the exhibition, you might have seen a lot of pictures of Natasha, very inspiring pictures where she visualizes something and then puts together different frame. Of course, she'll be talking about that during her presentation. So this is a single shot, and if you wonder how I got this shot, this was we were finding for a place. I went to shoot this Sankranti festival in Surat, and we were just going around, and then this on top of a hotel there, and we went to the terrace to see how it looks from there because the next day was a shoot. We were just going around to to do some recce, and then there was a glass there. There was a glass barricade, and we could see a very nice reflection of what is inside. So this part, what you see, is what is inside. I mean, that was behind me, and this bus station was in front of me. I could see this, even if I don't see through the glass. This is what I would be seeing: this flyover, this bus stand there, and this is again what was lying right in front of me. So I tried different angles, and probably this is how it worked out quite well. And you see, these people are flying kites. I took another angle from there. You see, looks a bit surreal. So this was during the Sankranti. So this is one picture from Kolkata. Kolkata, there are a lot of markets, lot of physical work there, and it's amazing how these using teamwork. You see, there's so many people, about 10 people together, lifting up these baskets filled with cauliflower and taking it inside the market. So unloading from the truck and taking it inside. So this is a typical scene of Kolkata. You have this, you see, manual rickshaw puller, and then the ambassador car, and then this the background of this red buildings. So this is a typical scene of Kolkata. So this was shot early morning. That's why you see the light is so beautiful here, and that's what motivated me to take this picture. So this is from Tawang Monastery. So they have these really early morning prayers about 4:30 in the morning, and then after they are done, they all come out at once, and that is the moment I was waiting for. So and then everybody try to come out. Now one thing you see, when everybody comes out, there might be a lot of overlapping between the frames. So this is one picture where I could see a lot of faces, and the light was hitting on one monk, which is who is right in the center. So that's why I chose. So here I was taking a lot of shots, multiple shots, and you can see some holding books and some holding their bowl where they have their sampa. So this is one festival I went last year. This was in the largest river island on the earth, that is called Majuli, and they have this Ras festival which they celebrate very nicely. So these people, so it's a Hindu Vaishnav community, and they dance around with their instruments, and it makes some really good experience. And this is they also have some performance, and here they are preparing for that. Okay, they are painting their faces before they go for their performance. And so this is from, these two pictures are from Kullu Dashera. So Kullu Dashera is quite famous for, there are a lot of they bring all. It's a very interesting festival which I had not seen before. So there are about 365 villages who had participated last year. They bring the gods from their own villages, some on trucks, and some carry their gods on their shoulders, walking all the way for 10 days, and bring them here. They worship them for 10 days, and then they go back to their own villages. And they believe that these devtas, they call it devtas, and they respect these devtas more than any other god. Okay, so in Hinduism we have a lot of gods, but they respect these devtas more, and a lot of times they believe the devta speaks through the shaman who is standing next to him. So here again, the morning time, the light was quite beautiful, so I got this shot. And so I am making a whole series of people's obsession for tea. So here you can see how everybody is having tea. This is in a small restaurant in Kullu. It's a very busy, very popular place for having tea. And so again, you see light, even if you are able to identify good light, you can get good pictures almost anywhere. So this is a apple plantation. This is taken in Spiti Valley. So so it's actually an ordinary shot, but it's a light that is making the plants, trees shining, and that what makes a good picture. So some more textures from Spiti. So I travel to the Himalayas a lot, and one of my favorite subject is shooting the Milky Way. And I have done Milky Way shots with all different kinds of backgrounds, and I'm always bored with the same kind of backgrounds, and always looking for something really something different, something new background. And here I got it with these cabbages, you see. So there's cabbages growing there. So I got it with those cabbages. And this light is the light from the hotel where we are staying. So very less light, but it kind of gets really amplified when I'm taking these shots with the Milky Way. And they're all single shots. None of my shots are composites. They're all single shots. I don't do composites a lot. I mean, in fact, these series that I'm seeing, I mean, that's not my style of photography. I just do single shots, and I try to do whatever possible in one shot, and that's the limit I have set for myself. And for post processing, I use only Lightroom. I don't use Photoshop. There were days before about 5 or 6 years back that I used to use Photoshop when I'm doing panos uh, to put all the pictures together. But nowadays I don't use Photoshop because those features are already there in Lightroom Classic. Okay, one shot. There are a lot of these festivals. So this was shot in Mumbai in a place called Banganga. So they have this place where they worship their forefathers and shave their heads. So this is one ritual that they do. And these bull races happen in a lot of places, and like in Tamil Nadu we have Jallikattu, and so this race happens in a lot of rural places in Konkan, and these are really small, limited to the village, and they have these really dramatic races. And these shots were done in very heavy rainfall. So it happens during the monsoon because there is nothing for the farmers to do. So they organize these races and they have these prizes, but they are very limited to very small crowd. So I and my friend were the only photographers when we went there. So unlike other places, if you go to Mangaluru or in Jallikattu, there are hardly. I mean, there are so many photographers. It's difficult to take pictures. So. I almost lost my life in one of these on place. So you see, I wanted this shot where the bull is right, facing right onto me. Okay, and so it's a circle. So the bull has to take a turn. Okay, so it has to maneuver its speed in such a way that it has to take a turn. And a lot of these bulls were not really able to take a turn, and it came right onto me because I was there. But fortunately, nothing happened to me here. But you can see it's all raining. It's raining quite heavily. So protecting the gear, it was really a challenge taking these pictures. So this is probably the easiest shot I have taken. So I'm not lying. So I'll tell you how I took this shot. So I mean, people who take pictures might be aware of. And this is also single shot, no composite, nothing. So I put my camera on a timer. Okay, so on the multiple shot mode, 30-second exposure, an aperture of something like f12 or f16, and went for dinner. So my camera was taking shots every 30 seconds. So 30-second one exposure, and then I went for dinner. I came back and then downloaded all the pictures onto my laptop, and I got this shot. So there were a lot of other pictures also, but yeah, this is where I could see a lot of them, and you see that really big one. And so probably the easiest shot that I have taken without even pressing the shutter button. I do a lot of these kinds of shot, the Milky Way. So yeah, so this is something I tried last year. So this is apple trees. Apple trees are full of apples during the season, and this is how it looks during April. It's really cold here. It's like minus 20 degrees at the time when I'm shooting this. This must be around 1 o'clock at night because the Milky Way rises at around 12:30, and but it looks so beautiful. I was so mind blown just to see this scene, and then yeah, taking the picture is just a byproduct, but the experience of being there was something really outstanding. Well, idli seller, but yeah, the light was beautiful. The background was dark, so so make some. So sometimes you see even ordinary subjects can make some really interesting pictures. So this is one festival that I attended last year. So this is one of the they celebrate Holi in different ways in different places. So and this was very interesting actually. So they don't play with colors, but they decorate themselves. They dance. So they have a competition. Every village has a competition. So it's very interesting way of playing Holi. And this happens in the northern Maharashtra. So it was really very interesting to see this Holi. And so after I tried my normal shots, I tried this slow shutter speed, moving my camera at an angle, and got this shot. So you have to really take a lot of shot, and then if you are lucky, you get one shot which is like the way you want. So at least got one. And I love being in rural India. I work with some NGOs which helps me take to travel to these places. And of course, on my own also, I have traveled quite a lot in rural India, especially the tribal areas of Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Jharkhand. So these places. And life is still the way it used to be probably a really long time back. One shot from Pushkar is kind of overshot, so it's very difficult to get different images. And I have traveled quite extensively in the Northeast, and Northeast has different states, and every state is really huge. I mean, some of the states like Arunachal Pradesh and Assam are really huge, and you would take time. You have to take time to travel to these places, and no tourists, but some really good opportunities for photography there, as you can see here. So this is on the way to Spiti Valley. Yeah, this is Hanle. So one thing you will see, I so initially when I went to these places, I just saw and I just took pictures. But now because I already have those pictures, now I wait and watch the light. So one thing if you want to do do good photography is to just wait for the good light. And if you are, what I have seen is there are some people who are so adamant. I mean, one person is sitting right here, it's Satish. So he wants pictures so desperately that the universe just gives him with the pictures. Yeah. So I mean, the universe or whoever you say, he said, okay, you just have it. And that's it. So so I'm not as adamant as him, but yeah, I try. I just think maybe I'll also be gifted one of those shots. So this is in Hanle. So this is very close to what the original picture was. So if you want to, I barely do any editing to the pictures. I just wait for the good light. So if you want to see how this picture actually was, I can show you. So I just increase the contrast a bit. So you see, this is how the original picture was, and this is how it looks after I have processed the picture. So it's just about watching the light and waiting for something good to happen. So here you see these donkeys here. They give you some perspective of how huge those mountains are. And here you see this, yeah. So Kiang, or this wild donkey. So they call it Kiang. So it's in the frame and it's silhouetted. So and this is the Hanle River, which kind of meanders through this whole plain. And sometimes you will see miracles like this happening. It doesn't happen all the time, and there is no skill uh, from my side as a photographer, because I just captured what I saw. I can't create this. I was pretty much, so a lot of people ask what setting so setting is not something like rocket science. If you use something like f8 or f12, you will probably end up getting something like this. But yeah, seeing something like this is something quite interesting, and you don't happen to see something like this quite often. And this was in Varanasi. So I don't like people to pose for me. I just shoot as things happen. So I was just going around and saw this scene happening. This was in Varanasi, and I was able to get this shot. And so this is from a festival in it's called Hola Mohalla. It happens in Punjab, okay, in a place called Anandpur Sahib, and very good opportunity for taking pictures. So this is our these are so previously I showed you some shepherds from Rajasthan. These are shepherds from the Kutch region of Gujarat. So you see, if I shoot this man straight, maybe I'll get a different kind of image. But I wanted these buffaloes as a background. So I kind of visualized this shot, but I didn't know I would get quite close to what I have. But I was lucky I got this shot. So with this uh, buffalo or cow looking at me, it makes it quite interesting. And so we have one village called Molinong, which is called the cleanest village in Asia. But I have seen so many places which are really clean. So many places which are really clean. This is one of the villages. You see, all the houses are painted like this, and just people sitting in there. So there are so many villages like this which are quite clean, and they have made like an ideal village. So now in a time where you see garbages everywhere, so it's very difficult to avoid any kind of plastic in our pictures. But yeah, there are still some places. This is quite in a remote village in Orissa, a bit difficult to reach. So the nearest airport might be about 500 kilometers far away. Some of the tribal places. This is again one place, one shot that I have got. This is in Lamayuru. Again, it's a miracle of nature that you can see here. Nothing, no skill of me as a photographer, but it's the light that made the difference. It's just that you just have to wait and watch for things to happen. So we were supposed to take rest, but I was just in my balcony just watching the light, how the light is moving, and the weather was changing. So bad weather is actually a lot of times good news for photographers. So that's how I got this shot. So similarly, all these situations, the light was really bad, and I was able to get this. So I am not a wildlife photographer, but if I see some wildlife, you can say this is a habitat shot, what the wildlife photographers say. So I had this Himalayan Thar running across this field of snow, and I got this shot. So my driver spotted it, and I was just ready with my lens, and I got this. So some more pictures where you see. So these are where really bad weather. We were just waiting, doing nothing, and then all of a sudden the sky opens, and one ray of light comes, and you get shots like this. So okay, so I would end my presentation here. So these are my pictures from this year. I was not able to go really back, but yeah, I hope you got an idea about what the kind of photography that you do. So now I have some time for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. So can I request to put the lights on? Yeah. Yes, please. So when the weather changes, there are a lot of these kind of things happen. So basically, when the sometimes the weather is really bad, it is about to rain. Sometimes some storm happens. So these kind of phenomenon you can see when you're out in nature and when you're taking pictures. Yeah. Yes, please. Uh, which one? Okay, so that was the a long shutter. So it is a bit. So you have to take a lot of pictures, and then out of that, maybe one or two will come out good. So I was shooting at a shutter speed of something like 1/30th of a second. So and then you move the camera. You zoom in or zoom out, and that's how you get that. But in this process, what happens is when you are zooming it, the camera shakes, and then my subject also gets blurry. But after you try for a few shots, you get what you want. Yeah. Milky Way is pretty much a standard setting that we use most of the time. The shutter speed is one by we call it a 500 rule. So uh, if you are shooting say at 30 millimeter, 30 by 500 by 30 should be your focal length. Okay, so that's how we. So most of my shots are shutter speed of 30 seconds or 25 seconds, and you use the widest open aperture. And you can use any basic kit lens that. So in fact, I have shot with the kit lens a lot of times. Okay, in fact, I'll tell you how I got my first Milky Way shot. We went to for a trek in a place we were camping on snow, and I drink a lot of water, and then I had to go out to take a leak, and then I saw the sky. There's something. It looked like cloud. I didn't know what it was when I shot it about 15 years back, and then I asked I posted in the Himalayan Club group, and they said, I asked, what is this? It looks like a cloud. I'm not sure. They said it's a Milky Way. So then I read about it and I understood. But I somehow figured out how to take a picture, and then it became my obsession. So the settings are pretty much the same. But what really makes a difference in Milky Way photography is that you have to find a nice background for yourself. So if you get a good background, then your picture, because the Milky Way will pretty much look the same from any part of the world. Any other questions? Any other comments or anything? How did you find the pictures? Good. Okay, so thank you so much. Uh, okay, I'll give it to. Thank you so much.
No, I just introduce you. Okay. So that was Saurabh for us. Now, yeah, definitely it's brilliant. It was brilliant. And one more thing you would have noticed that that a photographer's collection of his body of work, it's usually it spreads over 2 or 3 decades. So what we saw there in the exhibition was just done with just 5 days. So that is the difference. So now we know what his capabilities are, real capabilities are. Now let me introduce Natasha. Natasha is from Mumbai. She has taken photography to a new level. In fact, when the first time her portfolio was shown to me, some of my team members asked, "Hey, is it photography? Is this photography?" I said, "This is what photography is going to be." So that's the difference. So I am a documentary photographer. Being a wildlife photographer all my life, I shoot things as it is. I cannot manipulate. But that doesn't mean that photography is all about truth. Photography was and is never the truth. Something we need to understand. It's an art form, which means it's also it's a matter of self-expression. We have seen Kerala in through different perspectives. Natasha's perspective is about it's basically starts with a thought process. Every time I teach photography, I tell this to all the people. Before you click, you need to create the picture in your mind. So in order to create the picture in the mind, she has to use multiple images. And she presents something very quite interesting. And let us welcome Natasha with a round of applause. Where is your laptop? It's on my laptop. Okay, no problem. What was the name of the folder?
The digital download.
I think they need to change the. What? Yeah, the digital darkroom. Yeah, okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Great.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Now, I think now. Um, okay, so my workshop is going to be quick, but hopefully very interesting. I am a photographer from Bombay, and I'm very interested in experimental visual practices with photography. I really like pushing the photographic language into new places. And I think for me, because I would consider my work a little bit in the realm of surrealism, and I'm really, really inspired by the great surrealist artists of the past, for me, photography has become not so much about documenting something, but about exploring the more intense interior landscape of a place. So I'm not really interested in how places look. I'm interested in the soul. I'm interested in the stories that are there beyond the image. And a lot of my work really plays with that. So I use certain techniques. And the reason this workshop is called the Digital Darkroom is because in the past, photographers that wanted to do really experimental photography would do this in a darkroom with film. They would have to take different exposures, put them in a negative bath, create multiple effects in them, and all of it would be done with chemicals. But now we live in far more indulgent times, and everything that you could do in a traditional lab or a darkroom can now be done in a Lightroom, on Photoshop. So I'm using very standard photographic practices of the past, but I'm just using modern equipment to do it. And with that being said, let me take you into a little bit of the process. And also through the course of this presentation, I'm going to be showing you some of the work that I did for Lenscape Kerala. Hopefully tell you the stories behind the images and what I was thinking. And then we look at a little bit of my work besides that as well, so you get an idea of the kind of process and work that I make. Very simply, the session flow is going to go through these various categories: the photograph that doesn't exist yet, maths and the invisible image, and exercise in rebellion, which I'm all about, and the studio of unbecoming. And then we will not do the question answers with me. We'll save it for the panel later. When the Kerala project was offered to me by Balan, as of course Saurabh has already said, we were given an extremely liberal creative brief where we were free to interpret Kerala in whatever way we wanted. And I remember telling Balan right up in the front that, listen, I won't be shooting documentary images and I hope you're okay with that. And he also very famously told me that I could break the camera on a rock if I felt like it, and I was free to do what I liked. So when I went to Kerala, I was very interested in really looking at Kerala not as a place or as a geographical series of images. We've all seen beautiful geographies of Kerala. We've seen the sunsets and the landscapes and the tea plantations and everything that makes Kerala stunning. But I was very interested in the emotional landscape of that state, because for me, Kerala is very, very dear to my heart. And as an artist, I also have, I feel like Kerala and me are soulmates, because both of us are like outlier states. We're a bit rebellious. We don't map the same way the rest of the country does. Kerala marches to the beat of its own drum. Its heart is very red. There's lots of education. People are very aware of their rights. And of course, as you know, it's a communist, mostly a communist state. And people really value that Marxism ideal very highly. So I thought to myself that it's very difficult to keep the political and the cultural and the emotional realities of a place out of my photography. And I really wanted all of that to come through in the kind of images that I created in Kerala. And most of us, when we think of Kerala, we think of the state as a green state, because it is green. There's coconut trees and rice paddy and everything is really lush. But to me, the heart of the state really felt red. It felt like a beating red heart because of all the passion and the courage and the rebellion that is in the people. And so quite naturally, I started thinking of my series of works with a dominant color theme of red. And I don't know how many of you have gone up to see the show. Please do. It's a lovely collection of everybody's work. But you will see when you come to my wall that there's quite a dominant color theme, and it's red. The reason this is called the photograph that doesn't exist yet is because as a photographer, you could be doing many things. You could, first of all, so quite honestly, photographers are actually storytellers, right? We're always telling stories, because the frame shows you what I want you to see. It's not going to show you what's behind it or what's around it. There's very deliberate omission. There's also timing. So at all times, we are telling stories. And these stories are very creative stories, and they could be multiple kinds of stories. They could be stories of light. They could be stories of movement. They could be stories that are political. They could be stories of action. They could be so many stories. So to decide what kind of story you're going to tell is an act of creative ownership. And I think that kind of decides how you are going to tell these particular stories. So it comes to how should you create. A lot of my images began way before the shutter actually dropped on the shot, and they continued long after that happened, because I was not interested in just framing a shot. I was interested in what was going on at that place at that time. And as I said, because Kerala for me was an emotional landscape, I wanted to use all of this layered history of the state, which is political, which is cultural, which has religious tones, which is spiritual, which is social. I wanted all of that to be colored in the image. So in this particular image, when I was shooting in Wayanad in Kerala, there was the general, I think the village, the general panchayat elections were on, and the CPIM party was all over the place, and there was just political bunting and banners everywhere, and it was a very vibrant and interesting landscape. And I sort of wanted to document the history of that politics in the state, but without making it so much about an individual person or expression, but more about the feeling of that time. So this is a party worker moving past the bunting. A little bit about my background. I've actually started off as a hardcore photojournalist. I was shooting daily news for almost 7 years of my life. So I think now my visual practice has really become something that sits between documentary photography and surrealism. And the reason I do this is because all of these photographs are photographs, but they have been stacked and they have been layered to create a larger story, a more interesting story than a simple one. And I think that's because I like the idea of my work for Kerala being sort of like a children's illustrated pop-up fairy tale book. You know, when you open it, it's magical and there's so many layers and everything that's happening in it is fascinating and nicely crafted. And depending on where you look, you can find something visually interesting going on. So that's sort of what I was trying to do. And I was also interested in seeing how in a place can you make the inner experience of that place come together with memory and with culture. This particular image is actually an indigenous tribal person from Wayanad, and she's holding up a mask. And this mask in the past, I mean, the mask is supposed to represent the face of the tiger, right? And in the past, the tiger is it's such an elemental fear for people that lived in the forest, because you didn't know what your chances were. Every time you went to the forest to do something, you were walking with this wild animal, and it was a source of awe and mystery and fear all in one. And now it's a mask that can be sold at tourist counters. But I wanted to bring back that whole metaphysical experience of what it must have meant to come up with that creation of the face of the tiger back in decades ago when they did, and sort of bring that into the magical part of the forest. Coming to the kind of work that I do end up creating, I like to call it the invisible maths, because maths is very simple. It's about multiplication, subtraction, division, addition. So when you think of a photograph as maths, you start thinking, what is it that you want to multiply? What is it that you want to leave out? What is it that you want to, divide and put in different places? So in this particular image, I actually was told a very beautiful story about this image that I can share with you if you all are interested. But this is a very particular flower to Kerala. I forget the name. Yes, it's very hard for me to pronounce the Malayalam word. But there's a beautiful story to this flower. This flower used to be white, and then there is this metaphysical element where this witch was spitting tobacco, and when she spat on the road, the white flowers became red. So this image is about the CPIM party on the triumphant bike parade through the city, and there's the Marxist flag, of course. And I just found this whole idea of political idealism as something that is so beautiful and so fragile. And I feel like flowers represent it best, because it's something, a flower in nature is something that feels so fragile, but it's so resilient. They bloom in the strangest places, and they persevere, and they make life beautiful. And I feel like idealism does that. So I wanted to combine these two things in this particular image. Also, this image is actually called There Are Blossoms Beneath Our Feet. This is an image of a Kalari performer, martial artist. And again, we have all seen images of Kalari. It's a fascinating, martial art, and there are swords, and there's jumping, and there's a lot of technique. But I wasn't interested in documenting Kalari in the physicality of it. I really wanted to honor Kalari as a beautiful legacy of all the ghosts of the artists of the past that has passed on this legacy from performer to performer, from artist to artist. And so this particular man, in his posture, instead of him being aggressive and fighting, I wanted him to almost be submissive, to receive. And I felt like this technique of creating ghosting in an image kind of hints, even if you don't visually look at the photograph and have a language that allows you to understand what is going on. I feel like it creates an intrigue in the viewer, that there is a feeling that it generates. And for me, even if you don't know my story or what I was doing with it, if you feel something when you look at an image and you're curious about what is it saying, I feel like that's already a good starting point for an image. So this particular image of this gallery artist was my homage to the legacy of this art form. And I find that particularly surrealism as a photographic language becomes, it's not a fantasy and it's not an escape. It's actually a very interesting way to experience, to express things that are quite hard to express literally, the nuances of things. And I feel like those nuances is really where a lot of the mystery and the magic in imagery lies. How do you, for example, how do you express what nostalgia feels like, or how do you express what awe feels like, or how do you express that internal landscape? So for me, this kind of technique really works. Photography as an exercise in rebellion is, of course, what I love doing. It's, when you have a brief, but how much can you challenge yourself to interpret that brief in a way that is not obvious? And how much can the thing also is, we have had cameras for so long and we've had the photographic language for so long that I fear that if we do not engage with it actively and push ourselves to experiment with it, that it might become a language that is almost now archaic, because there's visual exhaustion. People have seen so many images that maybe the beauty of something is no longer hitting the way it did when it was new. And the one thing I hate, in life and in my experience as an artist and also personally is something that is boring, because I feel like if you create something boring, it has already failed in its act of creation. So rebellion for me is a very interesting concept, to work against a brief but still somehow sort of honor it. This particular image is one of my favorites from the series, because if you guys are familiar with the Mundu, you know that in Kerala, the Mundu is like a ubiquitous action for any self, like a proud Kerala male to do and undo and do and undo. And in a conversation, the more passionate they are about something, the faster the Mundu gets tied or untied. So I really wanted to, I feel like if you don't capture that action, have you even been to Kerala? So I really want to capture that. And of course, this is also an image of the rice paddy, but as you know, this in this image, the rice paddy is not green, it's red. And for me, the symbolism behind that is really, it's our country's particular struggle with agriculture and farming. I feel like our farmers have really suffered a lot, do not get the kind of rewards they should. And a land that is green is actually really colored with the blood of sacrifice and toil. And I wanted that to really come through in the image, the actual cost that people put into the land. So for me, the red was very significant of that. And this ghost image of the farmer in the back is supposed to signify almost like a unbroken procession of farmers from the past and farming that will continue way into the future. Now I'm just going to quickly show you some images from the project. Some of them might be repeats, but you can take a look at the ones that were not there. And if you have any question while I'm showing you the image, please feel free to ask. This image is not on display at the gallery, but it's also one of my favorites, because the other interesting thing that I noticed in Kerala, and I'm a mixed heritage person. My mom's Bori Muslim, my father's Hindu, and I went to a Christian school. So and all my friends are from the south. My best friends are Mallu, in fact. And I like to think that I am like sort of this unity of India ideal, because I have all kinds of blood and heritage in me. And for me, that's always the dream of what this country wanted to be and should be. And in Kerala in particular, I realized that people in the state are united in the sense that they are Mallu first and everything else second. And for me, that was so beautiful, because you're so united in your heritage that it doesn't matter whether you're Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever. First, you are from Kerala. And in this image, this was actually, I was sent to a place to shoot a waterfall, but there is no waterfall in this shot. What I was very interested in seeing were the kind of people that were coming to this place. And in this image, of course, there is a Muslim lady in a burqa and her friend, I think a newly married Hindu lady, and they were walking on this very rough terrain. And it's quite slippy and the rocks are sharp, and they were just there and helping each other down. And I found that moment such a beautiful moment to commemorate, because I also like being idealistic. And also the flowers are just to signify the sort of strength and fragility there is in that sort of friendship. This is also another image that's not on display, but an image from one of the tea plantations in Wayanad, in the area of the tea plantations in Wayanad. This is an image of a Theriyatham performance artist, a ritual performance, as someone corrected me. It's not a dance form. And what I found very interesting about Thera, and I did not know this until I went to Kerala, was that this particular performance is done by the lowest of the low castes in Kerala. And on the night of this performance, the performer will dance they'll put on all this really elaborate and heavy makeup and gear, and the head arrangements are so high, and they dance for hours and hours and hours. And after 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours of dancing, they get into this state, this sort of religious frenzy, and that's when the deity enters them. And when the deity enters them, this very old mythological god, that's when this lowest of the low caste person becomes somebody that everyone fears, and whatever they say is taken with a very healthy amount of respect. And I found that was so interesting, that for one night, these people that otherwise are at the bottom of the social hierarchy are actually at the top. And I wanted this particular image of Thira to show that, to show the fierceness of that and the beauty of that, and also the temporariness of that, which I think flowers are exactly like that. They're very temporary blooms. They are there for a while and then they're gone. So for me, it became a natural combination of things to layer. This is also a very interesting image because it's at a very beautiful UNESCO World Heritage Site. I forget how far from Wayanad, but it's the Edikal Caves. And these caves are Neolithic, and they have carvings from the ancient people from 10,000 years ago, where these early humans came and took shelter in the cave and carved their motifs into these rocks. And here was a woman of almost direct legacy of her ancestors, dancing in the cave. And her husband, of course, was on the side taking a picture of her, but he's not in the shot. But I felt that is so, it's just so surreal to think where we have come as a species and how unbroken that line is. And I wanted that to be what the story of the caves was all about. If you look a little bit closely, I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, you can. A lot of those a lot of the dark grooves in that shot are actually the etchings from the caves. There's a king, and he's carved his crown, and it's so cute also to think that in the old days, just like 7 lions carved on top of the head represent the king and his crown, and even now, 10,000 years later, when you look at it, you know that's a crown. This image you've seen already. This was also a really sweet moment. It was in a little island off Wayanad. I'm again really bad at names, so I can't remember. I think it's Kurava. And I just happened to be on the bridge on the opposite side, and this little group of boys from the madrasa just showed up, and they were all very fascinated by something in the water. But it felt like a moment stolen out of a storybook, out of some magical time, like it belonged in an illustration. And I wanted it to have that quality of something that makes it really special. And that's what I was trying to get with the layering. This is a Mohiniyattam dancer. Again, I was more interested in Mohiniyattam as a passed on language as opposed to the actual motions of the dance. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but there's an elephant in there in the deep jungles of Tholpeti. So this is a conversation that I have with myself a lot, because as a woman, privacy and consent are very important to me. And I feel that our relationship with nature has become quite predatory, and we don't always respect the animal in its habitat. And our need to see that animal looking at you or get that photograph often comes at the expense of the privacy and the comfort of the animal. And I saw this beautiful elephant moving almost like a ghost, through the... Actually, so this picture looks really beautiful, but this scrub that the elephant is moving through is an invasive species of weed that has really overtaken Tholpeti, and it's horrible because it doesn't serve the animals. None of them can eat it. And the forest authorities are constantly battling to try and cut it down, but it's just refusing to stop multiplying. But here was this elephant moving like a shadow, like a ghost image through the forest. And I really wanted to honor the privacy and the sacredness of that moment of, such a immense and mysterious being moving through the forest. So I didn't want to really make it anything more than that. Also, the Mohiniyattam dancer from before. And now I'm just going to quickly show you some other works that I've done, if you all would like to see them. This is a project that I was working on with Cirque du Soleil. They're these very interesting acrobatic artists from, I'm not sure, from all over the world. And we were working on, I think art is also something that is very powerful as activism, because there are so many things that are happening in the world today, and I always feel a strong need to engage with it, at least in my practice. And this particular series of works is dealing with environmental degradation. This image was made at the Warsaw Kolivara, and what's happening at the back is all these bombills are drying on the fence. And the bombil is a fish that is very native to Maharashtra and to Bombay, but because of overfishing, this fish is not expected to survive the turn of the next whatever decade or so. So a lot of the Koli people are really concerned about that, but of course we don't have measures in place to help that situation. So this particular image was about the fragility of the ecology and plastic pollution with these artists. This is about the water table and the disappearing water tables in many places. This is, of course, about overfishing and irresponsible fishing and plastic pollution. I also feel that art is a very powerful way to say things without making it too in your face, because if the image is interesting, you can move people enough to engage with the subject. And now a few works from a very interesting project I did with the Embassy of Brazil. They wanted to send me to Brazil as a woman photographer from India to shoot Carnival. And Carnival is a very interesting time in Brazil. It's where there are 2 million people on the road at any given time. They're all dancing, people are drunk, there's drugs, there's all kinds of things. And it's just a huge mob. And, as a woman photographer shooting a festival in India, it's an absolutely, 180-degree different experience, because as a woman in India, if you're in the street in the middle of a mob, you're not able to really be a photographer because you're constantly worried about what's going to happen to your physical safety. You just don't feel safe. But in Brazil, it was, of course, very different culturally, and there was a lot of freedom, and I could really just walk out at 1 o'clock in the morning with my camera and be in this mob, and there was just no problem. So when I was taking these images, I had to think, what if this kind of sacred feminine was an emotion, and what if that emotion was freedom? What would these images look like? And so I created these portraits of dancers from the carnival, and nature is the freedom. This is just very early double exposures with fashion photography. This was a music video for an artist whose song was I Want to Be Rich. Question answers. That's the end of the presentation for me.
So now let me introduce myself. Okay, I'm Balan. I'm a senior fellow with the International League of Conservation Photographers. I started photography exactly 40 years back. So what I'm going to share with you is I'm showing my pictures, my growth as a photographer, and my experiences. Quite often people ask me, how can I be a commercial photographer or a successful photographer? Let me tell you, there are no shortcuts. I'm talking about not just about photography as a hobby. I wanted to be a full-time wildlife and nature conservation photographer. For me, I had to show the beauty of the world, beauty of nature to the world. In order to do that, you need to master your equipment. That's the most important thing. Let me ask you just one question before I start my presentation. How many of you can drive a car or a motorcycle in this audience? Just raise your hands. Okay, almost everyone can drive a car or a motorcycle, right? Now, let me ask you this question. Suppose when you are driving, suddenly a grandma jumps onto the road in front of you. What will you do? You apply the brake. Then you have to press the clutch, change the gear. Then, because being Indians, we will remember her parents in our own language. And then we drive on. While we do this, how many of you will look at the brake? Where is my brake? Let me check where is my brake. You don't have to look. It happens to you automatically. Especially in nature photography, nothing waits for you. When something is happening in front of you, you can't say, please, 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 don't jump, don't fly. Let me just change my shutter speed or ISO. So what I'm trying to advise you is that, based on my experience, you should be able to change the settings of the camera without taking the camera away from your eye, which needs practice. Let me just show some pictures first, then I'll talk about my life story. I was lucky enough to travel to all 6 continents, including Antarctica. And wherever I go, something will happen in front of me. That something needs to be captured the way you want it to be shown to the world. For that, you have to change focal length, you have to change shutter speeds, you have to change apertures, all these things. But nowadays, your modern cameras have become so advanced that it's practically impossible to take a technically bad photograph. You have autofocus, you have image stabilization, you have unlimited ISOs. But where me and Satish and where we come from, when we load a roll of film onto our Nikon FM2 or FE2 cameras those days, we had only 36 frames. But even if the greatest scenario is happening in front of you, we'll still keep at least 5 frames for the next thing we'll be ready for that. Now, it's technically, everything is taken care of by the camera, but still we make bad pictures. Almost every day, right? So why is it happening? So the thing is that the biggest challenge in this Instagram, Facebook world is that almost everything has been shot already. So how do you make your pictures different? That is the only challenge now we have. Everything else the camera will take care of. To find the picture is more difficult than making the picture. So you need to find the picture, and this is something. I just show some pictures, then I'll tell the story just to start off. Okay, I have been lucky enough to travel to different parts of the world, shoot a lot of things. Okay, now this is the story of my life. I wanted to be a full-time wildlife nature photographer, but when I started, I realized that I was born in the wrong country. I have made good pictures, okay, but who is going to buy my pictures? Nobody buys a wildlife photograph by paying a price. So I was devastated. So but I still wanted to continue my photography. So what I started doing was I started doing commercial photography. So all my life, what I have been doing is for the last 40 years until I turned 60, when I announced that I am stopping commercial photography, for almost 40 years, I was shooting hotels, resorts. You know that this is where the money comes from. I shot Kerala tourism from 1988 to 2004. All those God's own country campaigns use my pictures only. Thank you. So this is what I did. I shoot hospitals also. I am maybe one of the few people other than a doctor who has seen a pediatric open heart surgery. I have seen brain surgery. I have seen orthopedic surgery. I have seen every branch of what you call medical work I have shot. But that's where the money comes in, and I spend it on my wildlife photography. These are just samples from my commercial work. These are the kind of pictures that we used for Kerala tourism. And now I will start my journey just showing quickly going through the pictures. Okay. Travel photography. Okay. Now let me introduce my state. And why I'm showing these pictures is that I'm quickly going because Adish is the main important speaker today. When you want to be a successful photographer, you should not only know your camera, you should also know all the photographic techniques available, all the focal lengths, how to use the focal lengths, all the apertures, everything should be like you driving up that motorcycle or a car. So this is Irabikulam National Park, one of my favorite places. People quite often ask me, of all the places that you have traveled, which is the best place? I say, my own Kerala. People say, how many countries have you traveled? I said, I haven't finished my district Trivandrum. That's a reality, okay. Just showing pictures, because you need to master every branch of photography to become a successful commercial or travel photographer. You need to understand everything. And just going quickly, just showing pictures, different techniques, everything you need to apply because every photograph demands one particular set of settings. You should be ready when that happens. Okay. These are all from Irabikulam National Park, and we know this is the most beautiful animal of Irabikulam called the Nilgiri Thar. Even though I have shot maybe hundreds of different species, I am still known as the Thar man. Because this is what I have shot. Satish, we were discussing today that it's no longer possible to make such good pictures in Rajamalai. But every photographer knows. I'll just simply show some pictures. Now let us just go to Periyar. Periyar, even though it's called Periyar Tiger Reserve, it's the best place in India for elephants. Again, using different focal lengths, different shutter speed, looking for frames. That is a finding the picture is more important. And also, sometimes we need to do black and white. Black and white should not be an escape route. If your color picture is not working, you convert that into black and white and everyone will say, my God, what a brilliant picture, man. That is not the way to do it. You should think black and white. These are some referral images. And just quickly going, this is again, there is something called luck. But luck is opportunity meeting preparation. I'll tell the story behind this because this elephant was on an open meadow on the right side. I was in a small boat with my dear friend Kannan, the tribal watcher. He was just sitting there. Then I said, Kannan, if only that elephant came to that edge of the water, what a picture it would have been. Then Kannan said, sir, let's wait. So we just sat in the tiny boat, the two-man boat, okay. Then Kannan started talking, a tribal guy started talking to the elephant. Say, hey, Balance of Ramitunda, you know what he has done for our park. You should go there. He's your friend. So I was thinking, what is this guy doing? Then suddenly Kannan said, sir, take the camera. Get the camera ready. Get the camera ready. She is going to come to the water edge. I said, what? So till now, the wind was from the elephant towards us. Now the wind has turned. Now the elephant can smell us. Within seconds, it will go back into the forest. So we be ready. Exactly as he said, within 2 minutes, the elephant pointed the trunk towards me, then started walking towards her. She had to cross. So I was waiting for this moment. Photography is also about pre-visualization. You should dream, always dream. I'll end my talk with 3 dream pictures. Okay. Now this is, if you want to be famous, successful in wildlife photography in 1 week, spend 2 lakh rupee, just go to Kenya. And in Kenya, in Masai Mara or Amboseli, I just got back last week only, okay. All you have to do is sit inside your safari vehicle. You can talk to your family, friends, and just keep the camera like that and click. When you come back in the evening, you will have 100 great pictures. That is Kenya for you, okay. The animals are so used, because look at the landscape. This is the Masai Mara landscape. This is not actually the Mara, this is the Savo. But the savannas are so suitable for photography. And the animals are so used to these safari vehicles and cameras, they don't mind. They don't mind you at all. There is a story of these two lions lying on the ground, surrounded by 20 safari vehicles, and everyone is shooting from the vehicles, and the lioness on the right side is looking at her partner and telling, I think that fat woman with the red skirt is not using the correct shutter speed. So these are things, these are the reality. So these are things we see. I'm just showing pictures. You can sit from the comfort of your dining table and make pictures. This is, and also again another story I'll tell you. When we saw these cheetahs, they were so close. So after making a couple of, this is my first cheetah sighting, okay. After a couple of pictures, I said, this is not I wanted. I want the cheetah to be in all its grandeur. So the driver said, we lose the vantage point if we move away, because we are the first vehicle. I said, this is not my cheetah. This is very important. This is not my cheetah. My cheetah is in the grandeur of the savannah I want to shoot. Then I saw a tree, a fallen acacia tree there. I said, take our vehicle there, please. He said, why? I said, cheetah will come to the tree, it will climb. It happens, I say, because of experience. Knowing your subject is very important. Cheetah shares the same landscape with hyenas and lions. These two animals are capable of killing a cheetah, and they do it once in a while also. So cheetahs always want to look at the surroundings, what is happening. For that, they need a vantage point. So when I knew that, I asked them to take the vehicle to that particular point. And this is what we got. This is again, I'm talking about anticipation and preparation. There is no such thing called simple luck. Luck happens in Kenya it happens, but not in other places. Just showing sample pictures, simple pictures. And also you can predict actually, if it's raining, these animals will have to, they'll just throw away the water from their body by turning their head. See, these are all simple things. This is one lucky shot of a cerval cat recently I got, just last week I got it. And there is another thing called balloon safari that I did 1 or 2 times. That is the fastest way to spend $350. If it's windy, in 20 minutes, your balloon will end, trip will end. In 20 minutes, $350 going, you can never find another place where you can do that, okay? But it's an amazing experience. Do you know why? Because I'll tell you, every time I do workshops for classes for youngsters, I tell them we are all 5.6 photographers. Do you know what is 5.6? Not the aperture. There is another more important 5.6 in the life. This is 5.6. You stand and make pictures like this all the time. So your pictures are always from 5.6 feet. That has become boring. So how do you make, the first point I say, how do you make your pictures different? By changing the angle. Balloon is one thing which actually give you a bird's eye view of the whole landscape. So you get a different angle. So these are things now very important in your photography if you want to get that 100,000 likes on Instagram. No, I am very bad in Instagram or Facebook. You won't find me, you'll find me there, but I don't post anything like that. Again, moments when things like this happen, I call it the kiss of death. This kiss of death is something, things are happening around you. Your observation power you need to develop in order to not miss the situations. These are landscapes, just last week only. Here also, there is a story. When we went to Lake Nakuru, when the vehicle stopped there and we got out, we were surrounded by 150,000 flamingos. So how do you make a picture of 150,000 flamingos? It's impossible. When you use a wide angle, you will have a lot of white dots in the picture. So in such situations, it is a responsibility of the photographer to find an interesting photograph. Then you suddenly notice that 5 of these flamingos started moving from one colony to another. The sky was dark, so that the color of water is always the color of the sky, right? So when you have an overcast sky, the water will also turn gray. So immediately I shouted to my friends, shoot, think black and white and shoot. And sometimes you need to overexpose, sometimes you need to underexpose. What was the setting here? Exactly, it was underexposure. So these are things it has to come to you every moment. Because in nature, nothing waits for you. This is another thing, even though a lot of people are traveling, this is my picture, but I'm not an underwater photographer. I shot it in the Dubai aquarium. You should also be honest with the story behind the picture, okay? I could say that I used that scuba gear and went down and suddenly this great ray. No, anyone with a mobile phone can shoot it in Dubai aquarium. But Sri Lanka is a very interesting example because maybe the only time where a war helped nature, it happened in Sri Lanka. During the period of the LTTE, the ocean between India and Sri Lanka, we all know as the Park Strait, was one of the most overexploited ocean beds. There was nothing left there, but then this war happened. Anything moving on the surface, either LTTE or Sri Lankan Navy will shoot down. So for 30 years, though there was no fishing, the ocean became calm and it came back. So now, Sri Lankan coast is one of the best places in the world if you want to see dolphins. They take you on the same boats which they earlier used for fishing, but you'll be surrounded by thousands of dolphins. Again, the thing is, like I always say, understand your equipment, understand the situation. You should be prepared because suddenly one will boom, pop. And you are in a boat, you don't know which direction is going to happen. Instantly, you should be ready. For that, it's very important. Another thing is the boat is moving out like that. Your horizon will finally look like this. So understand these things and practice. So quite often people ask me, youngsters, sir, how can I practice on birds on flight? Bhaiya, there are millions of crows. Practice on the crow, okay. Then one fine day that the great African fishing eagle is flying, you will be ready. You need to practice, okay, very simple. So just to show how we see, just in front of the boat, they're just playing, okay. So we can get all this thing, and this is again my great underwater diving. No, I just put my GoPro down into the water, okay. And we were lucky to see these also once. And it's very cheap. $1 goes a very long way in Sri Lanka. Because of the economic disaster, now it's like 318 rupees per dollar. So we can go enjoy, unlike spending 2 lakh rupees on Masai Mara, we can do Sri Lanka in hardly about 1/5 the price of that. But you get amazing pictures. You get very beautiful pictures. Okay. Central India, I'm just showing because in Central India, people go for only one thing. It's called tiger, and more tigers. Nothing else. And we have become so obsessed with this species. I think the same lion story happens here in places like Ranthambore and Pandavagadh. Every tiger, if it is not surrounded by 10 to 12 safari jeeps by 7 o'clock in the morning, they will have withdrawal symptom. Did I do something wrong? Why there is nobody around me? They become so habituated, okay? They become so habituated. And see, since everyone shoot, I also love tigers. I shot some pictures, but this is the way I shot the pictures with all these guys shooting with their mobile phones and everything. See, it's fun, so funny actually. And this safari jeep has become part of their life. Yeah, if you shoot, nothing wrong in shooting from a safari jeep. I also do it a lot of times, but most of my work in Kerala is on foot because we don't have safaris anywhere in Kerala. So all my work, I have done about a dozen books. 8 of them were on national parks and sanctuaries. For that, I have walked thousands of kilometers inside Kerala. Morning to evening, we'll be walking, making pictures. And this I got in Ranthambore. Lucky. This is luck, okay. But again, you need to know the correct shutter speed. Please, don't attack. Please wait. I need to increase the shutter speed, please. It doesn't happen like that, okay. And moments, you should not miss the moments. But this is one place actually where you can go if you have that little bit of adrenaline left in your body. In Nepal, there is a place called Bardia National Park where they take you on foot inside tiger rhino country. You can walk like this inside the park. And Sometimes rhinos will come. You'll be sitting by the side of the river. This is a very beautiful experience for me, and it's not expensive also. Okay. See the tiger I shot on foot in Nepal. It's far away, but there is an intimacy. Immediately get connected to the landscape there. And these people, they are crazy. Nepal people, like we call them Gurkhas, the most fearless people. Most fearless people. Now, this is a way just showing some pictures quickly. And this one charged towards me. What happened to us, we were carrying that dinghy because the water level was very low. And suddenly there was a noise inside the tall elephant grass. And our guide called Raj Bahadur, amazing, forest guide there. He said, sir, there is inside, mostly it's a tiger. So we all stopped, took our camera and waited. After 2 minutes, another noise came and the grass opened and this rhino came straight charging towards us. So I thought before death I should make one picture. So I just clicked without thinking of anything else. But suddenly I realized something else is happening. I saw these small little guys charging towards the rhino, shouting. Rhino got confused, it went away. Anyway, that's why Sam Manekshaw, the India's first field marshal, gave this great quote. If somebody says, I am not afraid of death, mostly he is lying or he is a Gurkha. Brilliant. Now my favorite place. For us in India, when you talk about nature, there is only one color that comes to your mind. What is that color? Green. So I went to a place which is so green. You see, whatever ego you have in your life, you get shattered if you have been to Antarctica. It's an out of the world place, but it's possible for each one sitting here to do that. All you have to do is invest in mutual funds for 5 years. Okay. I'm also doing a little bit marketing, but it's possible. You should do that because I'm an atheist. Let me be very, very honest with you. I don't believe in God. I don't have a second next life or anything. So before I die, I want to see as much as possible. You should also do that. But Antarctica was a mind-blowing experience. Number one, the vision, the clarity. Since there is zero humidity in the atmosphere, you have amazing vision for kilometers. And the clarity of light is brilliant. Okay. Just showing some of the pictures. This is not the color of the vessel. Okay. It is the sunlight setting, sun reflecting on that vessel. And the scale is also different. Massive. You have a continent, you have these icebergs floating around you, which are like monsters. Okay. And this is the way we move around that area and surrounded by ice. But here also, let me just show you, this is the humpback whales. And here and a lot of things we learned. The markings on the tail of each whale is different. It's like the stripe of the tigers. Now, how do you make a good picture from a colony of 6,000 breeding penguins? Again, the same challenge. Okay, you can make a picture like that. It's so noisy, so funny, but getting a good picture is a real challenge. For that, you have to look around and find and isolate at least one pair of breeding pair of penguin to make that picture. This picture always reminds me of my convent days, school days, where this that the nun comes swim in the same moment only, This is the leopard seal. And also make pictures, okay? Find the pictures and make them. That is the only challenge you have nowadays. Find the picture. And we all did that, including myself, we did that. It's called the polar plunge. I have the certificate in my home. But the funny thing is that, tell you the secret. Getting in the water is not that difficult because outside temperature is minus 15. What was the temperature of the ocean? Any science graduates here? No? High school? What will be the temperature of ocean? Why? See, at 0 degree, the ocean will freeze. Isn't it? So if the water is water, it means it's only 0 degree. Outside is minus 15. So jumping in is quite easy. But if you don't come back within the 30 seconds, then hypothermia will set in and you will be dead. But that was good. And this is the most important thing I tell you. On one fine morning, not morning, one fine evening, sun never sets during the summer in Antarctica. This photograph happened exactly at 11:48. For 2 minutes, the cloud broke and the sun came at the horizon. And it gave this unworldly, I say, divine colors onto the landscape. And you should be ready, you should have apply all your knowledge and expertise to capture those moments. Just it happened for 2 minutes, but which made my, not my day, my life. See. No artificial what you call post-production, just the basic corrections only. But it happened. It happened for just 2 minutes. I was running around the top deck of the ship, and I saw people crying actually. We saw. Now, I'll end with 3 pictures, okay? Last 3 pictures. I told you about dreaming, For about, when I started in 1986 photography, within 2 or 3 years, I realized that I have to make different pictures. So now my dream was to make a photograph of an elephant swimming that I want to shoot from under. So there is no problem with dreaming, okay? You can dream anything, right? When you dream about getting a lottery, will you dream about 50 lakhs or 500 crores? Isn't it? So this was my dream. I wanted to make a picture. I was not a scuba diver, nothing. But I dreamt of that particular picture of an elephant swimming shot from under. But one of my colleagues now in ILCP called Brian Scurry made that picture. He took an elephant from what do you call Andaman Islands and made the picture. So that particular dream got shattered. Somebody has made that picture already. My second dream again happened. I want to make a picture of the elephant swimming taken from the top. For 35 years I was dreaming, but there was no scope. But last year, thanks to our new drone technology, I could make this picture in Periyar. So this picture is there. I can't say that I waited for 36 years. No. But when the moment comes, you should be ready. This is my lucky moment which happened in Periyar. So I'm happy. Now this is the picture everyone knows me about. Across the world, Balan is known for this picture, the Thar picture. Again, I tell the story about anticipation, preparation, and luck. Those days, this was an abandoned building. Now, if you go to Rajamala, this is the interpretation center. I was sleeping inside. During February, January, February, Rajamala gets sub-zero temperature. Sometimes we get -2 or -3 at night. So in the morning, I was lying inside my sleeping bag, comfortable. The door was open, and the shaft of light was there. I was just looking outside and just lying there. Those are the film days. This is something I shot in 1993 or 94. Okay. Then suddenly I saw 4 lines coming into the picture. I said, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" Then the 4 lines came. The shadow came, and finally the Thar came and looked at me. Just for 1 second, vanished. I cried. I lost my best picture of my lifetime. I cried. Really, literally, I cried. But then I pulled my camera back. Just took my Minolta SRT 102, that is a manual film camera. Then I put it in vertical and said, okay, the Thar was coming, and that there is a single arch, and there's a second arch on this side, the shaft of light. And I was talking to myself. When I was talking to myself, looking through the viewfinder, I saw the 4 lines coming again. I came, just stopped, looked at me for a second, I clicked. So this is what photography is all about. But if I had missed that, wait. Let me load my film. Gone, isn't it? So these are moments when you should be ready. So I'll end my talk with the last picture. This is something I shot in your state, Karnataka. This is a shot in Daroji National Park. Most people who are shot sloth bears know that Daroji is the best place, maybe in India, where you have almost guaranteed sighting of a sloth bear. So when I went there, because I have a lot of friends in the forest department, so through some connection only I went there. I saw very, very interesting thing happening. These are 2 rocks where bears usually come. They said, "Sir, just wait. At 4 o'clock, bear will come." I said, "How?" "Just wait." So we were just there. Nobody else is there. Then a guy walks. A forest watcher walks with a tin. He walks towards the bottom of the rock, and he dips a brush inside and started applying something there at the bottom of the rock. I asked, what is it? No, some senior officer came here. He said, we should feed the bears honey every day. So this guy is coming at 4 o'clock every evening, and he'll dip this brush into that pot and apply honey on the side of the rock. This is actually literally what we can. This is honey on the rocks. Now, I am not joking. When he was applying the honey there were at least 3 or 4 bears we can see in the surroundings, just waiting. The guy is, at that waiting at 10 o'clock at the liquor shop, just for it to open, with shivering hands, something like that. They were just waiting, and immediately the moment this guy went out, they started, as per the protocol, they started licking the rock. Then when I was shooting that, suddenly I saw something happening at the top of the boulder. Then I looked and saw that this squirrel is running from one point to another again. And he'll say, try, let me jump, again go back. I knew he is going to jump. Now the question is the same thing. I have to make a few decisions immediately without taking my eye away from the camera. The squirrel is not there. Where to focus? What shutter speed? How to increase the shutter speed without turning the shutter speed dial? The best way to do it, increase the ISO. If you increase the ISO, all the parameters will automatically go up. So I was waiting. Then the squirrel took the jump. I shot this with my Canon 5D, which has got a very slow motor drive. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. This is the second shot. Exactly in the middle, I got it, thankfully. So this was displayed in an exhibition in Trivandrum, where I thought I'll sell some of my good pictures and make some money. Thankfully, one of the greatest thing about nature photographers doing exhibitions is that there won't be anybody around, okay? So I was just sitting there one afternoon. Then one white lady came. She walked around. Again, she came to the same picture. Again looked. Then she went back. Again came to the picture. Then she stood there for some time. Then she walked backwards. When somebody walks backwards in a photographer's gallery, you know what is called laddu popping? It happened inside my mind. Because I know that she is interested in the picture. She is like, okay, when I buy the picture and put it on my wall, and when I come from my entry, how does it look? That is the way. That's the reason she is walking back. Then she came towards me. Are you the author of the picture? He said, I am the author of the picture. But are you from Europe? I asked. She said, how did you know? Because the word you used. In India, somebody will see, okay, did you click the picture? She said, are you the author of the picture? That is the difference. I need to ask you 2 questions. I said, please. Is it a genuine photograph? Yes, it's a genuine photograph. I did not Photoshop and cut and paste the squirrel there because I shoot in RAW format. The squirrel is there. Now, did the squirrel reach the other side? Well, I said, of course it reached the other side, and I in fact pointed to the place where it landed. She said, I want to buy the picture. Okay, anyway, tomorrow the exhibition will be over. You can come and collect it, or I can deliver it. So after that, we just sat down. So we are chatting. She is from actually from Italy. She is in Kerala this time for more than 3 months now. Then I asked her, why did you ask that second question? Did the squirrel reach the other side? Then she opened up and she started talking about her life. She came to Kerala about 7 or 8 years back. First time, she was in Kovalam. She was into Ayurveda medical treatment. She really enjoyed it. Made friends with a masseur who convinced her that this is the best time to invest in Kerala. So she went back. These poor creatures are, that they believe us. She went back, sold everything that she had there, sent the money to this guy. And when she, after about 2 or 3 years, she came here, this guy has bought something, but everything was on his name. She was out. This guy said, no, I don't even know you. Who are you? The typical thing, So this poor woman has been going from one office to another, from collectorate to police station to commissioner office to tahsildar office to village office with complaints on a daily basis. She said, I am fed up. I said, that is something I can understand because I'm a Mallu. So we take you people for a ride on a daily basis. Okay, don't worry about that. This is something I can understand. But what is the connection to this picture? She said, Balan, on many a day, I thought of ending my life. Because I'm so fed up, I want to end my life. So that also I can understand. But what is the connection here? She said, I want to buy this picture and put it across my bedroom wall, opposite to my bed. And every morning when I wake up, I will look at the squirrel and say, if the tiny squirrel can reach the other side, so will I. When I made the picture, I had no clue that a photograph, like just an action photograph, okay, could make such an influence on another person's life. Then so that is the moment I realized that, okay, as photographers, we can make change. This is the photograph that made me realize that, okay, photography is not just about clicking, it's about having that emotional connection. Okay, thank you. So lights, please. Now, in fact, I am also waiting for Satish's presentation. Okay, Satish, where is your hard drive, pen drive? No, we will have a question and answer session immediately after Satish's presentation. No, you come, please come. Now, how do you want to transfer it? SD card. Give me the SD card. Fantastic. You want to show it from the card itself, or is better to copy it? Which is master class, right? Yeah. That is better. So yeah, always. You can, it only I already put it there. Where is it? Master class. No, this is the one. Yeah, sure. It's already there. This is the one, right? Yeah, this is. You start from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Where did the cable go? You are comfortable with Mac, right? All you have to do is next up and down. Down is in a translate. Okay. Okay, now let me just introduce Satish. Yes, Satish. When I started photography in 1986, those days we had something called salons. Photographic salons were the equivalent of the photography competitions nowadays. The salons actually connected a lot of photographers across India and outside India also. And they had a lot of what I call recognitions called AFIAP, EFIAP, MFIAP. Then ARPS, Associate of the Royal Photographic Society. Both of us happen to be associates of the Royal Photographic Society of UK. No, what we both, in fact, in 1994, I stopped participating in photography competitions and salons. Now I can't because in most of the place I am the jury chairman. It's not fair to compete being a jury chairman. Okay, but Satish is one person. I call him the glutton actually because he has never stopped competing. I think even now he is. I think in my rough opinion or judgment, he has got more than how many 2,000 awards?
Around 1,400.
Around 1,400 awards. I'm talking about national and international. Okay. I once in a while send him a message that please stop competing. Okay, but he okay. Finally he listened. Okay. Anyway, Satish is one of the. In fact, you know that I can connect to Satish very well because out of the 10 photographers, very few are full-time professional photographers. Natasha takes photography as an art form only. Like that, they are different. But I think Satish, Saurabh, and there's another photographer called Umesh. These three are full-time professional photographers. And Satish is just like me. He shoots everything. Omnivorous, okay. We shoot everything, okay. And Satish's talent is nature, landscape, people. Whatever you throw at him, he'll deliver. So in fact, when this assignment was given to me, the first person I called was Satish. Satish, I know you are one of the 10 people. There is no doubt about it. But give me a couple of more names. In fact, some of the names who shot in this assignment happened only because of Satish. So let us all welcome Satish once more.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very simple and very nice introduction by my dear friend Mr. Balan. We know each other from almost from 1985, 86 like that. Though I started my photography in 1981 during my college days. So, coming to photography, I am so happy that you people have come out of your busy schedule. You have come to witness Lenscape, the Kerala tourism exhibition. And I am very thankful to Kerala Tourism and particularly to Mr. Balan for having given this opportunity to take pictures in one of our India's most beautiful state, Kerala. How many of you can define Kerala in your own way? What do you like the most in Kerala? Huh? Greenery, yeah, yeah. Backwaters, yes. Fish, yeah. Food is another thing which is very fantastic there. But fortunately or unfortunately, I'm a pure vegetarian. I enjoyed not parota, barota. And of course, uh, apart from this, food chips. Ah, yes. Most of you are foodies, I believe. You are telling only boat race, yes. Sunset is everywhere. Okay. Western Ghats, yes, it's the heart of the Western Ghats. So, so as all of you know, Kerala has got everything that a photographer needs, everything that a human being needs, and it is full of greenery, lush green, beautiful landscapes, and highly cultural state, and uh, yeah.
No, the problem is it's touch sensitive to my finger.
Okay. Yeah, and moreover, traveling in Kerala and photographing is not out of our work, but it is emotion. In Kerala, while going there as a photographer, we don't see that we are doing some photography work and we have to look for this angle, this lighting, this cultural aspect, all those things. But I was looking at each and everything with so much of interest, and I was shooting like a mad. I have shot more than 6,500 images, which I have to give only 100, and only 10 pictures are selected for the exhibition. That was a difficult task, though. So, coming to my photography thing, I started my photography journey seriously from 1981. At the age of 12, I started my photography as a hobby photographer because my brother who has come here, he was using a rangefinder camera, and he wanted to encourage me at the very young age to take up photography as a hobby as a kid. So, though many of the children were playing with toys and other things, I was playing with his camera. He was supplying me regularly the films, though it was very costly then. And still, he was supplying me films, encouraging me to go out and shoot pictures. And he used to get it processed and printed and show it to me how I have taken. So that encouraged me to take up cinematography as a subject. I wanted to be a cameraman, and I worked for 4 Kannada films after my graduation in cinematography, but I did not get even 1 rupee. So I left that job and started my own business of photography, and I became a full-time photographer in an advertising field. I was doing, even now, I am doing a lot of advertising and product shoots, industrial photography, and other things. Apart from my love, the art of photography, which is about pictorial photography, wildlife, birds, people, culture, travel and tourism, tradition, everything, you name it, I have pictures. I used to supply pictures to advertising agencies for their brochures, calendars, uh, for so many things. And I was one among the two photographers in India who were paying income tax for my hobby. So I started paying income tax right from 1990 and still continuing, and I am paying for my hobby still. So I had traveled all over India many times and few countries, very few countries for my photography. And here I am going to show you, and also for those who want to learn or curious to know about photography as an art, I am going to tell you few important aspects of photography techniques. So while you are interested in photography, it is not only that you can aim and shoot everything. That is at beginner's stage when you get your camera as a gift or as a new toy that you want to play with it. You aim at everything, and even when I started my photography, my father used to tease me. You take either a cat in the house or your sister always. But with that practice, like Mr. Balan was telling in the earlier stage, you practice at crows flying, then you become a better bird photographer. So like that, I started my photography with my sister, and cats at home, dogs at home, and some birds which used to visit home like that. So I start with my city. I am from Bangalore.
Let's keep it somewhere here.
I am from Bangalore, and Karnataka has got everything just like Kerala except the backwaters. We have waters everywhere during the rainy season. That is different thing, and that itself you can call it as backwaters. And this is my college, Jai Chamarajendra Polytechnic, and you can see a lot of culture around Bangalore. And this is the famous Lal Bagh Tower, and also this is the beautiful Cubbon Park, and these flowers, Tabubia avellandae, which is in bloom now, and we also have many other beautiful flowering trees all around Bangalore. That's why we call Bangalore as Garden City. And this is the Tabubia rosea, and Cubbon Park and also around Bangalore everywhere, these trees they bloom twice in a year, and it is very beautiful to take with the family or with your pets or however you want with these uh, flowering trees. So when you come to photography, we have so many questions by youngsters like how to find a subject. I am a photographer, but I don't know how to find a subject. So how to use my camera? I bought a new camera, but I don't know how to use my camera. Then after you are experienced with your camera for quite a few years, many people still have a question like how to find my style. Because everybody, when Natasha shows her pictures, her style of photography is different. When Mr. Balan shows his style of photography is different. Like that, everybody has got their own style, but how to develop that style? So you develop your own style when you get experience it, and when you want to break your rules and start photographing for your own self. And as I was introduced in the beginning, I am hardcore salon participants. I used to participate in many of the competitions. I have won quite a number of prizes, and now I have been a judge in many national and international photography exhibitions. So I have judged more than 50 international exhibitions so far. And I have given from the COVID times, when the COVID started and we were confined as a cage in our homes, we started webinars all across the world. And during that time, I gave about a lot of webinars on different topics. Now, the last webinar I gave was just about a month back. That was my 50th webinar on 33 topics, 33, 33 subjects I have given webinar, and I'm the only Indian so far to have completed 50 webinars. And right from the street photography, many people, they want to take different genres of photography like street photography or people photography, portraiture, architecture, things like that. So for a beginner, these are the things that you can try. So when you are traveling across India or wherever you want to go, you try at every subject so that you become a master. So taking a picture is different from making an image. So when you take a picture, you don't concentrate on your compositions, lighting, techniques, subject matter, storytelling, nothing you concentrate. Just because a girl looks beautiful, you take a picture without thinking which angle she looks good. When you go out and take some street pictures, you don't really give importance to lighting, but wherever you want, you take picture. But that is only taking picture. But how to make a picture is different. And then only when you give importance to all these things, then you can take some good images. But still we have a doubt like, what is a good image? So generally when we go out for general photography, like whatever you want, temple photography or street photography or anything, you look for a good composition, good lighting, everything. Before you click a picture, you have to think twice, what for I am doing this photography, what for I have to look for in this picture. If you think it is a good picture that I am going to make, then you select your angle according to the lighting that is falling on the subject. You wait for the subjects to come, and then you can make pictures. And sometimes you can also make pictures very unexpectedly, but we have got, as all of you know, that you have got two eyes unless you are wearing a glasses. So we also, as a photographer, we have got third eye, like Lord Ishvara. So this third eye, you have to open always if you want to be a creative photographer. Then only you can make good images. Like many people, they go to Belur and shoot different sculptures and other things. But when you want to take a picture of a sculpture of Shila Balika there, it is at 45-degree angle to the ground. It is very slant. It is looking down like this. But how to make it parallel and perfect for your camera, that you have to think, and you have to give you have to think about the composition, the lens, focal length that you use, and where to stand. Where to stand is most important. Many professionals also, they fail to take a good picture of these Shilabalikas. And also, I'll give you just a hint, those who are from Karnataka and photographers, if you go to Belur, I'll give you a hint. This particular Shilabalikas are at a very slanted angle at 45 degrees, just at under a ceiling. And if you go at 6:30, when the door opens from the temple, you will get beautiful lighting up to 7 o'clock. If you go at 7:05, the shadow will be completely on the sculptures till evening. And only in the afternoon at about 4 o'clock or so, around 4 to 5, 5:15, you will get the same lighting at the back of the temple, not in the front. These are all in the front, which are beautiful. So even at the back of the temple, there are Shilabalikas, but you will get the late evening lighting. So particularly for Shilabalikas, you have to prefer different lighting conditions. So when you go for travel photography, you also scout the place for a long time. Maybe when I visit a new place, I go for a recce for 2 days and see that what kind of lighting will be good at what time of the day and what can I expect in this picture. So basically, for a photographer, for a good art photographer, because most of all my photography, even if I take a very simple subject, the art of photography is very important for me. So all my webinars are starting with art of photography only. The art of photography, the art of portraiture, art of landscape, art of architecture, and touch of red is all my webinar topics. So lighting is very important, and if the lighting is very good, your composition should be highly important. It should be 100% perfect, and you should have a very good subject, and it should, being a good photographer and experienced photographer, it should be very creative. And a picture, when you take, it should tell a story. You should not tell a story that I took about 5 hours drive in the bus. I went there. There was no lighting. Lot of people they were disturbing. That is not the story. So when a person look at the picture, he should get what you have thought while you are photographer. So photographer should not stand next to his picture to explain about the picture. The people, when they look at the picture, they should get the inner thoughts of the photographer. That is the storytelling. And presentation, of course, is very, very important. That is the most important in a photograph. So these are all general photographs that we do, the composition factor, the lighting, the subject treatment, all those things. And when you go, particularly for example that I say, Hampi you visit, you look Hampi in a different way. Because uh, suppose if you go to Taj Mahal, in one day, there will be the Taj Mahal will be photographed by about 10,000 frames per day. So there will be thousands of photographers visiting, and everybody with mobile, with SLR, with everything they click. So 10,000 pictures are clicked each day. But when you go, your picture should be different. So think like that, and think for a different angles. So many people, they go to Hampi and take different ruins, temples, and things like that. But I love the rock formations in the Hampi. I go only for the rock formation, if not for the temples. I have shot plenty of temples and different things. Thousands of images I have got. But rock formations are the ones which I love most. You can see the play of light and shadows on these rocks, the formations, the environment that it has got, and the landscape that it contains is something different. The size of the boulders, the shape of the boulders, I mean, the environment where it fails, all those things is very, very interesting. And particularly when you go in the very early morning time, just when the sun rises or during just before the sun sets, those are the times that you get beautiful lightings on these boulders. And of course, making black and white or color is your choice. And during monsoon times, they glow like a gold. And the cloud formations will be very, very interesting for your frames. And particularly for boulders or for temples, cloud is a must. So now coming to Kerala, God's own country and photographer's paradise. So I was fortunate enough to be selected as one of the top 10 photographers across India. And I traveled for about 7 days across two districts, though I wanted to do for 2 months. So that was not at all sufficient, but still, whatever the facilities was given by the tourism department, it was fantastic, unbelievable. And I have never expected such kind of hospitality from the Kerala tourism, and they looked after like a king. And we got a very good opportunity to shoot there. And I utilize it each and every day, and every minute of 7 days I utilize it, and I shot to the best of my knowledge. So I hope I have done my work. When you visit the exhibition, you may see 1/10 of what I have done. So these are the Kalaripaya 2 I shot in Kannur. And this I used a high point, though I don't have a drone. I climbed up a small boulder and stood there and shot this with slow shutter speed after the sunset. And this is the Chavara beach near Thiruvananthapuram. It's about 25-30 minutes journey from there. So I had seen this particular beach at 11:30 in the afternoon, and the slow moving waves and the beautiful patterns of the waves one by one coming and hitting the shore. It gave me beautiful uh, idea to come back again in the early morning and shoot. So after 3 days or so, I went again onto the same beach early morning, just before the sunrise at about 5:45, 6 o'clock. And that day, unfortunately, there was a cloudy. It was very cloudy and I felt very bad, but still I started shooting pictures. But fortunately, after 1.5 hours, the clouds started moving and I got sunrise. This is the first sunlight falling on the beach, and it is litting beautiful wave patterns there. And also there is a beautiful church on the beach in Trivandrum, which is very, very colorful. And there is a Chaura beach on the other side where I used slow shutter speed and I shot at 6:30 when no man was around there, because that was the season for Shabarimala, and most of the devotees that had come there, and within 15 minutes the whole beach was black. This is the Kapil backwaters. It is one of the most beautiful and very lovely place near Varkala. And there some people were kayaking, and you can see the beautiful signature picture of Kerala with the coconut trees. And this is the sunrise in Ponnumudi Hills. I have used actually many, I don't know how about other photographers, what they took equipments, what kind of equipments they took and all. Because I just saw my description about my work, what I was assigned to. And I was given 2 districts and I saw what are the things that I can do. And I took my Nikon Z8 camera with 24-120 and polarizing filter is a must for me. So it's always fixed to my lens. And I took a small tripod in case if I want it. These are the only things that I took. And I finished my whole assignment with only this equipment. And without opening my tripod, I just came back. And this is in Ponmudi. Down the Ponmudi, there is a small tea estate. And beautiful single tree is, a lonely sentinel is there. This is the backwaters of Tenmala Dam. There is a Kallada River. You might have seen a lot of people, Kallada travels. And near my house, near Madiwala, I am in Jainagar 9 block. Close to my house, there is Madiwala, which is a hub of Malayalis. And there, every day I could see about 50 to 60 buses, Kallada buses. I was wondering what is the name of Kallada, what is the meaning. And only after visiting this place, I came to know that just like our Karnataka, which is a sacred river, we have Kaveri, they have Kallada River. So here there is a Monroe island, which is a very small island with mangroves, but beautiful island. And I also, after coming back, not as an assignment, but on my own, I went back again after 1 month to Kannur to shoot Thayyams because I had never done Thayyam so far. So I got an opportunity, a group of my friends, we joined together and went to Thayyam festival. It's not actually a festival every day. It happens in and around Kannur. You will find mm, maybe about 20 to 25 Thayyams happening every day there in different parts. And these are very, very colorful, and the dances they do is incredible. In fact, we have Yakshagana and other things. Even the Kathakali in Kerala, it happens for 2 hours or so. Even in Yakshagana, maximum they may do overnight for about 6 hours or so. But this Thayyams, it goes till early morning, and the whole night they will be dancing and performing, and it is extraordinary, thrilling performances that I saw. This is one of the Kandanar Kelan Thayyams, and it is very, very emotional and very uh, different kind of dance performance I saw. And these fires, it just goes about 30 to 35 feet in the air. They just throw the fire in the air during that time. And these are all new things for me. Of course, everybody who witnessed live there, they go mad. And I stayed for just about 3 days, and I took about probably about 20 to 22 Thayyams I saw in 3 nights. So all are different, and with different headgears, different dresses, and different stories behind this. That is what makes very interesting, because once you know the story behind each performances, then it becomes more interesting for you to shoot, and you can also imagine what you can take pictures in different angles and things. But unfortunately, what I found was nowadays lot of reel makers are there, and hundreds uh, people they throng in front of the performers, and they are. I saw practically. I saw and witnessed it in most of the temples and performances. They have put a huge board that photography is not allowed. So we are losing our this thing in the future, particularly the art photographers. We are losing opportunity to photograph these Thayyams because of so many other restrictions. So because of the reel makers and those who go very close to the performers and disturbing them, so these are becoming very unfortunate things happening. We can't help it. So I'll come to some of the landscape pictures that I generally shoot, because I do more of landscape and wildlife photography. I also conduct a lot of workshops across India for landscapes and wildlife. And this was taken in Rajasthan. There are two deserts in Jaisalmer. So I go to Kuri sand dunes to get more beautiful dunes, because less people they travel there. This early morning picture of a sand dune, when the sunlight, the first sunlight it hits the dunes, it gives different shapes to the dunes. Because of the light and shadow, you'll get very pictorial effect. I love pictorial photography because I started as a pictorial photographer. Later on, I turned my interest towards wildlife and landscapes and other things. Why I stress on pictorial is that in every art of photography, pictorialism is a must. Unless and until you know what is pictorial and how to place subject, what kind of lighting that you have to anticipate, and how to give storytelling images, your picture will fail. If you know pictorialism better, then your picture gives better meaning to your composition or your efforts. This was taken in Vietnam about a year back. and this in Varanasi Ghats. And only in during the winter times, these gulls they migrate to this place and stay for 2 months to give the opportunity for the photographers to shoot. Background, you can see a lot of Varanasi Ghats, and these twin rocks in near Bangalore. There is a world famous Joke Falls in Karnataka. This is in Rajamundry, yeah, Andhra. So that place is very beautiful. While you cruise from Rajamundry into Bhadrachalam, you have to go through Papikondalu. Papikondalu is like the whole Godavari, which flows about 5 to 7 kilometers across in Rajamundry. It goes in just 100 feet in Papikondalu. So that is the beauty of that place, and then it widens up in Bhadrachalam. So this is early morning there, and there is a early morning mist shot in Taj Mahal. So you have to visualize your picture before taking pictures, the final picture. So usually people they just see at Taj and they simply take. But if you have the idea before when you do recce, so I go to Taj Mahal. Behind the Taj Mahal, about 5 kilometers, you have to go back in the behind the river, and then you have to find a place where exactly you want to compose in such a way that the sun rises and you get the Taj Mahal in your frame. And you have to visit only during January, February, like that, so that you will get sunrise as well as mist. If you go in December, you will get only the mist, not the sun. If you go after March, April, you will get only the sun, not the mist. So you should know which time to follow and go. And this is a film era where I shot with the color transparency, and I scanned it afterwards. So that time also I went in the same place. So after many years, I shot the previous one, this one very recently, about 4 years or 3 years back. So this landscape is from Ladakh, and Ladakh has got a beautiful. It's a paradise for landscape photographers, and each and every turn you will get beautiful pictures. Like Saurabh showed play of light and shadows. If you wait, actually for photographers, patience is the most important thing. So if you wait for a long time, you will get play of light and shadows. This was shot at around 4:30 a.m. because very early morning the sun rises in Himalayas, and there is a Somorari lake, and this from the air. So I can't bluff that I shot this with drone. So I got a huge drone where 170, 200 people, they travel together and we shoot from there. These are the Himalayas. You can see the beautiful landscape of Himalayas from the top. There's a and the blue sky, the blue waters or the turquoise waters and the cloud patterns is a must in Ladakh. And whatever the time of the day you go, you will get all this. And after June, July, August, the timing will be very good for travelers. And from January to March or April, it will be very cold, but we get beautiful snow and other things. But for general photography and general travelers, after June up to August, it will be very good. There is a Somorari lake, and you can see the different colorings of the waters, shallow waters to deep waters. And there is a Spiti, and there is a Parvati Valley, and the village that you are seeing here is the last village in that Parvati Valley called Mud village, which is very beautiful. This is the Mud village, and the patterns of the rock formations and the landscape is almost similar between Ladakh and Spiti. Now coming to Himalayas in Uttarakhand, this is the Mount Trishul. This was shot at 5:30 in the morning. And this is Munchiari. You can see Panchuli peaks at the back. And while I was doing my webinar on Touch of Red, I found I had shot this when my friend was watching this Himalayas sitting on this chair, and afterwards he left it and went. So I thought of composing it in for my picture. And this was probably in 2007 when I just bought my new digital camera. That time I went to Munchiari and I shot these pictures. And this particular picture, it got me the biggest award so far in my life. And I had given this picture for DJ MPC that is being held in India in Coimbatore. They give the highest prize amount for any photography contest. And this picture in black and white, it got me first prize of 5 lakh rupees. Jury, I don't remember. Because each year they change the juries. Not then, because this is the first DJ MPC I participated. Ah, thank God. And this in Kausani. This early late in the evening at 4 o'clock, I shot this picture. And I'm actually a crazy photographer, if you say, because in 24 120 mm or 18 mm, I shoot wildlife. Most of the people, they say it is meant only for landscape. But for landscape, I use 400 mm. This picture I shot in 400 mm. And this has got many awards and many acceptances in international competitions. But in India, it is a failure because Indians, they don't understand pictorialism. This is in Himalayas in Uttarakhand. You can see the beautiful layers. And as Bolan was mentioning that, think in black and white. See, we have all come up with the same school of photography since the beginning of film era. And we always feel that when we look at the subject or the scene, we know which one is good in color, which one turn out to be a beautiful picture in black and white. So that's how we managed to take black and white pictures and color pictures. We segregate and take pictures. This early morning shot in you get 180-degree views of Himalayas from this particular place called Vinayak in Nainital. From Nainital, it's about 16 kilometers. You have to go up the hill, and if you are there before the sun rises, then you will get a beautiful view of this. There's a misty morning in Kausani. Coming to seashore, it's Andaman. So I'll take up the last topic of the day and one of my favorites, wildlife photography. And being a wildlife photographer, probably many of you may think that you have to show the face, what you are showing. But in wildlife, every angle is important and everything is beautiful. And particularly when elephants, if you see them walking from the back, it looks more beautiful. You might have seen some of the women walking with the long tail. Mada Gajagamane. So like that, it looks very beautiful. What you observe in this picture is the right side 5 elephants, you see the tail position. It's the same. And I have taken similar kind of pictures in Kaziranga also. It's the other way. Many times it happens like that. The tail positions synchronizes. I don't know how. So in wildlife photography, what is very important is the patience, perseverance, and punctuality. If you are not maintaining this, you are not a wildlife photographer. You should have also a good equipment. With a very aim and shoot or a very small lens, you cannot do wildlife photography. But of course, you can compose in a different way with wide angles or with whatever the equipment you have. But you cannot really anticipate like a real pro wildlife photographer. But good knowledge of the subjects is also very important, because what is wildlife in our photography? If you take 100% wildlife photography, 80% you should have the knowledge of the behavior of animals and birds. You should know perfectly well. 80% of whatever the subjects you are photographing, whether birds or tigers or leopards or crocodiles or whatever, or any birds are you are shooting, you should know its behavior. If the bird is sitting just like that, you should anticipate when it is flying. Then you can take better flying shots. When the bird is sitting for 5 minutes, if you think it is not going to fly, and if you look at your monitor, immediately it flies. But before flying, it gives a hint. That hint you should, being a photographer, you should know. So all these kinds of knowing about the subject is very important. And dedication, of course, our photography is a tapasya. Whether you are doing wildlife or portraiture or travel or whatever, it is a tapasya. Dedication is most important. And after doing your pictures, everything, if you don't know processing, all your good pictures look very bad on the monitor. And if you don't do good processing, your pictures will not show you what exactly you wanted to show the people. And aiming for high is very important for any wildlife photographers. So this was taken in Corbett National Park. As soon as the elephants they love water a lot. They take bath, they drink, they play, everything. After coming out of the water, they also take mud bath. So that is to keep away the ticks and other insects away from their body. And you have seen Balan's pictures. It's the same story here, because if you go to any sanctuaries, the gypsies or the people are the main enemies for true wildlife photographers. But of course, for general public, looking at tigers is very their lifetime achievement actually. But for me as a wildlife photographer, I don't know about others. For me personally, I love elephants a lot, but tigers I don't like to take pictures. But if they come in front of me, my hands will not keep quiet. But when I go to the sanctuary, I tell that whenever you get a call or whenever the people are running behind the tiger, you take the different route and go. I want to shoot different pictures, not the tigers, particularly when the tigers on the road are behind the gypsies. But you can't help it. These tigers, they come and sit and relax on the road, because in the jungle, because of the small stones and thorns and other things, their paws are very soft. So they want very soft feeling. So when they walk on the road, they feel very safe and very this thing. So that's why you see tigers, they keep moving on the track for a very long distance. This is a Tara with the cub in Tadoba National Park. And here the cubs are playing, and mother is not caring about that. And when the cubs are very close to mother, she leaves them for themselves to play, and then they follow. And when the mother kills the sambar or spotted deer or any prey, they call the cubs and to eat. And this the Maya, which was very famous tigress which had given birth to so many cubs. Um, uh, she is very famous for a large number of litters that she had given, and this is the last of the cubs. And after this, photographing this, after 6 months or so, she died. She was the most successful tigress in mother in Tadoba National Park. The early morning mother with a cub walking in Tadoba National Park. This is not Tadoba, this is Tippeshwar National Park, just close by to Tadoba. There is a leopard. So in wildlife, most of the time, expect the unexpected. Um, because being a wildlife photographers, we should anticipate so many things, and sometimes something unexpected happens where you have to be very quick enough to shoot pictures. So when you are shooting in early morning with the rays or something, some animals or something may walk into your frame, or in the early morning, there's a kind of fog that is coming out of water in the early morning. There's the first light hitting the lake. So when the lake is very cold in the night, because of the hot sun, it raises the small fog. And there is a close up of the antlers of the spotted deer in backlighting. And there is a sun shafts that you see during the misty times in the forest. There is in Kanha National Park. And there is a Barasinga in Kanha. There is a reflection of it. Only in two places you find these Barasingas. One is in Kaziranga and in Kanha. So create your own style is the mantra. Like Natasha has done her pictures, it's a different style of her own. And Balan, he has shown fantastic images. It is his own style. Like that, everybody should have their signature pictures. When we look at our pictures, people should recognize by the picture the name of the author. It should be like that. So when you go for any wildlife or macro or bird or anything, don't feel that there is no light, what I can do. Or the weather is very dull, it's about to rain, it's cloudy, what I can do, nothing. So no light or no weather is a bad weather. Every situation is fantastic for a photographer, but you should be creative and you should utilize your opportunity and you should know when to click. That is most important. And when most of us, like professionals, when we lift our camera and click, the composition is 98 to 99% perfect. The composition. When we click the picture and look at the picture, it is 98 to 99%. It is perfect exposure. How it comes? It is because we get prepared for the situation. We don't look at the animal. Oh, the animal is about to run. I should change 2000 and take. By the time it's 100 meters away, you should already know what to change. Whether it is ISO, you have to change, or shutter speed or aperture. We already know. We set everything for the situation and be ready. So that anticipation should be there. And this was taken in Bangalore only, nearby lake, early morning. So usually people, they turn out to take only the close-up of the bird or anything. But the trails that it is having in the water is what is interesting for me. And the composition is, see, usually the bookworms of composition, they see 1/3 of the composition, it should be here only. And wherever it is looking in that direction, you have to keep more space. You break the rules. See, when you are learning a motorbike or car, you follow the rules because of the police. Okay. So you strictly follow the rules. If you are gifted with a beautiful bike by your brother or your father, and after you get your driving license, you go in one way. Not only in going one way, you don't wear helmet and you still go in one way. Not only this, you will take two of your friends and go in one way without your helmet. That is breaking rules. But still, you can reach the road and you can get away from the police. So, like that in photography, don't bother about rules. Rules are to be followed till certain stage. After that, you should have your own thought processing of images. Thinking of your subjects should be different, processing of your images should be different, and your output should be different. So even while I said when the weather is very dull and very bad weather, even in that we make pictures like this, a drongo sitting on a beautiful perch. This picture will become very bad when there is a beautiful light and blue sky. It is good because it is matching with the black and white and gray tones. So here it is a red crusted pochard. The name itself is red crusted, and if I don't show the red, then if I make it a black and white, it's a failure. So that's why when to turn your picture into black and white is very important. It's not that each and every picture, if the picture is dull and not good, turn into black and white. It's no. And the quality of the image or the sharpness should be perfect in wildlife. You can only do some creative wildlife or creative macro by moving the camera in slow shutter speed or composing in a different way or things like that. But majority of the wildlife pictures, that if you are a pro wildlife photographer, it should be sharp and perfect in all aspects. There is a white eye pair, oriental white eyes, and I don't have to tell which is the male. This is a Malabar pit viper in the rain, and when the wind is blowing during the rain, you will find a slow movement of the waters. And here I am photographing a common cobra with my 24 with my 105 mm macro lens, because when we went for macro photography, we found this common cobra. So I approached it very closely and cautiously and photographing with one hand, which is no for any wildlife photographers. But I was not satisfied with this angle, so I wanted a top angle. So I put the cobra between my legs, and from the top I shot this picture, which is a risky business, but still you have to take a proper risk and be cautious. And that is when I said knowing about your subjects is very important. Behavior of animals is very important. If you move very fast in front of the snakes, it will bite you or it will be very this thing. If you go very slow, it can leave like it can allow you like this to stand. There is a Atlas moth, which is the biggest moth in India, and there is a cicada which has just came out of the shell and it is drying its wings. And this was taken in the midnight at 1 o'clock in the rains, because that is the time in the night times it emerges out of the shell. And there is a snail, and you can see the beautiful mushrooms. Generally, people, when they go for macros or anything, when they look at the subject, they take like that, just this composition. But my idea of taking this picture is this. So that is how we differentiate between the amateur and the professional. You should know what you are anticipating or what you want the final picture to be. And this is a beautifully lit spider web, And here at the bottom in the middle, you can see the spider. And this web, it has got thousands of colors. You don't see these colors just when you are passing through. The web will be like this. So you see it's a common web and go. But when you go down and see like this, when the sunlight is falling from the top, from the bottom, it looks like this. So this is when you get to know about the species or its behavior. Once if you move here and there, then you will come to know about it. So friends, thank you so much. And thank you so much. This is my family because H. Satish is Hanumantarao Satish. There is a picture shot in during a Valparaiso trip on this thing. This is a natural image, not taken in studio. So thank you so much.
So thank you, Satish, for the great presentation. Now, that a couple of things I need to tell. Number one, maybe we can spend 5 to 10 minutes if you have any questions. And the organizers have arranged refreshments for all of you. So you are most welcome to have it on this side. Any questions? So, Natasha, you could also be here. Anyone want to ask questions now? Please, a mic. Is it possible to have a mic over there? Here.
Yeah, we can come here and speak. No problem. Only three of us. When we ask.
Yeah. No, we need to hear her.
Oh, sorry.
No, sir, this is a major complication that we have. When we make good pictures, you people say that it looks like a painting, and when the painter makes a true, what you call portrait, you say, my God, it looks like a photograph.
Hello, Satish.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's presentation was great, even yours. Satish, I want to know for snail picture with the mushrooms.
Yeah.
So, how many flashes did you use?
Yeah, I have used about 3 flashes.
3 flashes.
Yeah. Usually for my macro photography, I have changed it from daylight to taking with creative lighting. I usually carry three tripods only for the flashes. And Mr. Arjun is here, so he is one of the top photographers. He also helped me in lighting and holding flashes and placing flashes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here.
So like I have a question like during sunset times like what kind of setting we should use during sunset?
During sunset, what settings?
Yeah. See, actually, when you're keeping your camera settings in manual mode, you have to worry about different ISO or proper shutter speed and aperture. If you are keeping it in aperture mode or auto mode, then the camera gives correct reading for the sunset or sunrise pictures. But still, sometimes it will override. But you can also override by manually tweaking with shutter speed, a little bit under exposure or so, by changing shutter speed or aperture.
I hope you got the point. See, the thing is, the question is, this is for, even though she asked the question, is for everybody. When do you want to use manual? See, we have now, we have aperture priority, shutter priority, full auto, program modes, everything. But there is also a mode called manual. Manual mode, for as far as I am concerned, I will set my camera on manual mode only if I have absolute control over the scene in front of me. Which is if I am shooting a hotel, if I'm shooting a restaurant, if I'm shooting a product, then I go for manual. In wildlife, always my camera will be in auto mode.
Hi, this is for Natasha. What's
Natasha, come.
the processing would use it for your photographs? the processing.
The process.
What's the process? So basically, I work with Photoshop and Lightroom. And whenever I'm stacking images, I'm thinking in terms of these are the 3 frames that I want to eventually do a triple or a double exposure of. So for the Kerala trip, I very consciously was shooting things that I knew I wanted to stack later, like in particular these red flowers from Wayanad and things like that.
So do you always, I mean, stack 3? When you say stacking means putting images together, right?
Yeah, so it's literally like imagine if you had 3 negatives and you place them in 3 layers and you put them in the bath, then you're gonna get like a triple exposure. But there's no limit to it. So you can do a double, you can do a triple, you can work with the kind of images that you want to stack. So in some cases I was using 3, in some I was using 2. And then in other places I was also doing this thing where you sort of like reverse a negative. So you have an image of a man and then you don't want that particular cutout of the man. So in the lab, you would just put like a cardboard over that area so it doesn't get exposed on the film. But in the darkroom, you can just do like a cutout. So I was working with techniques that can be done, but you just need to know a little bit of Photoshop to be able to do that in the tool.
Thank you. So just one more. So that's what you did with the shadow. You made it white. You
Yeah,
changed it.
the shadow and also the receding farmer in the paddy field. Ghosts of people, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please.
Hello. Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank the forum. So I got a lot of insights starting from Saurabh on the travel. I'm an amateur photographer, just bought recently, couple of months. My question is towards the rock formation photography. So there I can see that you're able to visualize and take the photograph of even the rocks in a way that it pleases, or you are able to narrate it, right? So any visualization or anticipation you have made in that kind of category?
For you.
Actually, these rock formations, you don't need any anticipation rather, because whenever you look at rock formations in different lightings, it looks different. Right. So it needs more number of days to go in different lighting and look at the same rock formations from different angle. Then you will get an imaginary this thing. Then you can make a final picture on that particular lighting which you like. Because in different lighting, the rocks looks different. Because when you saw the second slide with the title on the seashore, it was taken in Kannur beach at 4:30 in the evening, and the whole rocks was looking like glittering like a gold. Actually, I had never seen such kind of colors in the rocks. The same thing was very similar, not exactly like that, but similar in Hampi also. Only once I saw that golden color lighting. So that type of this thing, it changes every day at every time of the day also. So you have to visit 2-3 number of times to get the final picture. It doesn't happen at one time.
Thank you.
I'll just add one more word. See, our guru, long back, no, our guru, called Rajagopal, C. Rajagopal, who is one of the legendary photographers from Bangalore. He told me once, not me, he was addressing a small audience, open the camera bag at 6 in the morning. Pack your camera bag at 7 in the morning. Again, open your camera bag at 5 in the evening. Pack your camera bag at sunset. Because we live in the tropics, the light between these times are miserable and horrible. Very true. Okay. So early mornings and late evenings are the best times, not just for travel, landscape, anything. That's the best time.
There's one small question from me. This Prasad here, a friend of Mr. Satish also. Mr. Satish, could you slightly put a light on the polarizing filter where you always put on the camera?
Yeah.
Probably there is one more, so this thing, lens cap, slide, what they tell that, to safeguard the lens, there is a filter already bought from the company.
UV filter.
UV filter, sorry. Yeah, got it. This polarizing filter, usually it has a gradation. Could you put some light on the newcomers for the amateur, how to use it? Because why is it used particularly and how to use it? And why it is not to be put on the UV filter? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, actually speaking, I don't use UV filters on my lens, and I put it on my lens only to protect it from the dust. That's all. So if you put a UV filter, it becomes soft. Your focusing becomes soft, and you don't get very good sharp pictures. So I don't use it any time on my any lens, the UV filters. And coming to polarizing filter, I use polarizing filter throughout the day when I am shooting outdoors, particularly in sunlight and whether landscapes or buildings or things like that. And when I come inside or into the shadows, then I don't use polarizing filter. And polarizing doesn't do well during sunset and sunrise times. So it should be after sunset or sunrise times, or not after sunset, before sunset, and after sunrise you can take pictures away from the sun, not towards the sun. It doesn't work. So to be very simple technique to use where exactly the polarizing will happen is wherever there is a sun, you just shoot like this, the sun. So this thumb, it shows this direction. There it polarizes more.
It's 90-degree actually.
Yeah.
So I think your refreshments are waiting for you, and we did not have our lunch as well. so so we can call it a day for the time being, and please welcome. If more questions, we are also there. We can speak private, no problems. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.